Call, please, Sonia.
Yes, good evening. Gina Argento. Baden Bakowski.
Here.
Lisa Belmonte. Gina Barrows. Gina.
Here.
Okay. Eric Brusitis.
I don't hear you now.
Eric. Iris Cabrera. Bill Capernegro. Frank Cabone.
Here.
Stephen Chesler.
Here.
Michael Chilincelli. Michael. Teresa Cinziato. Stephanie Cuevas. Roland Daly. Giovanni D'Amato. Erin Drinkwater. Arthur DiBonowski.
Here. Here.
Lloyd Fing. Julia Amanda Foster. Cialis Fuller.
Here.
Crystal Garcia. Joe Goldstein. Joe Gross.
Here. Here.
David Helmick.
Yes, here.
This is Joe
Sabrina
Gross.
Hope. Robert Jeffrey. Faustina Kaminsky.
I'm here.
Thank you. Corey Catton. Paul Kulterborn.
I'm here.
Thank you. William Glassboard. Yolando. Marie Liaison. Marie?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm getting a very bad echo, people. Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Here.
Adam Myers. Sante Michelli.
Present.
Okay. Toby Markowitz. Rabbi David Niederman. Karen Nieves.
Here.
Karen? Okay, thank you. Mary O'Domery.
I'm here.
Thank you. Janice Peterson. Bella Sables.
And Toby Moskowitz. Here.
Okay. Bella Sable. Isaac Sofer. Belty.
Here.
Thank you. Yes. William Vega.
Here.
Javier Viera. Simon Weiser.
Sorry, I wasn't here before. Any more Horowitz is here.
Okay, thank you.
Sonia, Phil Caponegro is here.
Got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We have 20 members present who answered the call.
Thank you, Sonia.
This is Adam Myers. I just joined.
I'm hearing an echo. Sandy, hearing an echo.
I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
guys. I don't know what's going on. That was Mr. Adam Myers.
Could members who are not speaking mute themselves, so maybe that'll reduce the
We,
echoing?
we got a lot of background noise going on. Maybe somebody's on 2 devices. Let me ask everybody to mute themselves that's not speaking, please.
Yeah, because I was losing my mind, people. Okay, we have 21.
Thank you. Again, our public hearing.
Sonia, it's Eric. I'm here. I just couldn't get on.
Thank
Who?
you, Eric. Now,
Eric Brazetas.
I'm new with this, guys. Do I have to do a new time roll call or just check people off even though I put it at 6:05 when I finished? How do I do it?
What?
When I finish the roll call and I pronounce how many people are present and I do the time that I called it, do I start a second line or do I just put them in with the first roll call?
No, just as they come in while you're still calling the roll call, they probably couldn't get in. So just put them in.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. First item on the agenda, New York Design and Construction withdrew their presentation for tonight. The next item on the agenda is the combined public hearing calendar for 23, 24. Is there any discussion on that on the calendar? Any changes?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, just the November date. It says Wednesday, 11/14, I believe is a Tuesday. So I don't know if it was meant to be on Tuesday or on that.
Well, it's probably a holiday if it's on Wednesday.
Yeah, but Wednesday is I believe the 15th. So,
Wednesday the 15th, November 2023.
mhm.
Okay, well, we have to get a 2023 calendar and I'll have one handy. Thank you. When we go into
Thank-
our when we go into our board meeting, we'll vote on it and we'll make the changes. If anybody has a 2023 calendar, please try to check that date so we can be accurate. But if there's any other issues with
Yes,
the
I'm
dates?
checking.
Hmm?
So November 14th is a Tuesday for 2023. But I don't think it's a holiday. Anybody think it's a holiday?
Well, like I say, you know, we consulted with our Hasidic community because they have holidays, and the calendar. We went over the calendar, and if it's not on a Tuesday, then it's a holiday.
But it
Maybe
is a okay, so we have what
It's probably a Jewish holiday.
Okay.
We checked on this more than one
Right.
time.
No,
So that when-
the date is fine. The actual date, it's the day of the week. It should be Tuesday as opposed to Wednesday.
I'm
So
saying it's
November
probably
14th. November 14th falls on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday. That's what Steve was saying. And 2023, the actual date of November 14th is a Tuesday, not a Wednesday. And our paper indicates Wednesday, but that date is a Tuesday.
okay. Maybe it's a typographical
Yeah.
error.
Okay, November 14th is not a Jewish holiday.
Okay, thank you. But it's definitely a Tuesday.
Sonia, October 11th, also says
What was
Can't
that?
hear you. Can you say that again, Leanne?
I see October 11th says Wednesday. Is that a Wednesday or a Tuesday?
October 11th is a Wednesday. But was it because it's their holiday in October, guys?
Apparently.
Okay, so October 11th,
Is okay.
yeah, it's definitely a Wednesday.
Okay.
But
yes.
November 14th is a Tuesday.
All right.
So we just have to, do we pencil it in, guys? Can pencil it in?
Yeah, I corrected it.
Okay, if that's the case, we'll have to change it and resend it out to everybody, correct date. Okay, is there any other discussion on it? Okay, we'll vote on, when we go into our board meeting, we'll vote on the calendar, okay? Okay, next, liquor license. Is there any speakers on liquor license?
Yes, Rahika. Hello?
Hi.
Are you
Hi,
unmuted?
yes. Yes, I'm unmuted. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, hi, Madam Chair. This is Radhika. My boyfriend Karn and I recently moved to Williamsburg, Brooklyn. We live on North 12th Street, right next to the Coda Hotel, which was formerly known as the McCarran Hotel and Park. We've been deeply affected by the strong bass from their rooftop bar that plays. They have performances from DJs that goes on until 4 a.m. So both of us are not able to sleep ever since we moved this summer. We've been sleeping in the kitchen because the bass is reverberating through the walls of our home. We've gone to the hotel, we've communicated just that we're not able to sleep and they don't seem to care as much. And even we've had DEP fines. Even after that, the noise just keeps getting worse, and we kind of feel helpless. And even after escalating it at many points, it's affecting our health situation where we're just purely not able to sleep. And wanted to kind of convey to see what actions we can take against the rooftop bar at Coda Hotel.
Have you made 311 complaints?
Yes, we've made, the last time our property manager looked, there was over 49 311 complaints against this hotel. So it's our condo, which is adjacent to the wall of the hotel, where we feel a little bit more affected, but a lot of our community members in our condo are also affected. So every weekend we're making diligent 311 complaints, and there just doesn't seem any solution towards that, and we're just not able to sleep on most of the weekends when they play music until 5 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
The next speaker is Samir.
Hey, everybody. I just want to start by, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. Let me just go to my notes real quick. Dear esteemed members of the community board, my name is Samir Talati, and I reside at 135 North 11th Street. And I'm here as the board president of the residences at the Williamsburg. Last month, I had an opportunity to present at the SLA subcommittee meeting. And during this time, I made the team aware of several issues regarding our neighbors located at 160 North 12th Street, as Radhika just pointed out, Coda Hotel, formerly known as the McCarran Park Hotel. So tonight, I want to be succinct, and I want to surface the issues we are having. Issue one are the noise complaints. The volume of 311 calls regarding this venue since July 1st, and I'm going to quantify this for you all. Since July 1st to August 5th, there have been 45 311 complaints, more or less, have been made, and it was hard to print it out. I have all of this, all these calls printed out and all these violations printed out that I'm more than happy to provide to you all if needed. But out of those 45 311 complaints, 18 of those calls have led to the police department taking action to fix this condition. That is approximately 40% of the time. This number would much if the security guards didn't radio to the rooftop to lower the music as they saw police enter. And as Radhika had pointed out, the DEP on Friday, September 9th, in joint effort with Sergeant Frank Gatos, scheduled a hearing at around 11 p.m. and notice levels significantly above city ordinances. The noise pollution is and has been an issue. The noise continues and will continue this weekend. Based on their advertisement on social media, they are planning 3 events on their roof or basement. Which is a new location for their nightclub. And let me just be clear on issue number 2 now. The establishment on the roof is called features of all kind. The basement venue is called Bohemia. This is outside of what is on their C of O. And let me just be further clear here. This is a nightclub as per zoning text. First and foremost, the hotel is located within an M1-M2 /RX R6A and MX-8 zoning district. The hotel is not the issue here, it's the nightclub. Our issue is that their C of O states that the use group is 5 for a rooftop bar. Hotels are allowed to have the following as of right accessory use. Permitted accessory use includes restaurants, cocktail lounges, public banquet halls, ballrooms, or meeting rooms. These permitted accessory uses do not mention nightclub, and there's a distinction, a major one. If we look at use group 10, which states without restriction on entertainment or dancing, but limited to location in hotels. That is vastly different. This does not fit within zoning and use as permitted by city on the C of O. Use group 5, for which they have a permitted C of O, entails a rooftop bar. And again, I'm more than happy to forward this to you, Chairperson Fuller, if need be. Again, this is a transient hotel and such, the accessory uses do not allow for the current use. Our objective is not to shut down the hotel, their venues, just operate under the current ordinances. So to sum up here, our ask is that as a quasi judiciary body that you all are, we hope that you will take into consideration the numerous noise violations from 311 calls, the DEP reading, and our advocacy, and that you will seek not to renew your liquor license as that license is due up on 131 until they are acting within the standards of the city and within the character of the community that we have. Thank you for your time.
That is it on liquor licenses for speakers.
Thank you, Joanna. That concludes our public hearing session. Now we're going to our board meeting. Can I have a moment of silence? A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Can I have roll call, please, Sonia?
Yes, ma'am. Gina Argento. Baden Bakarowski.
Here.
Lisa Bermonti. Tina Barrows.
Here.
Eric Rosides.
Here?
Iris Cabrera. Iris Cabrera. Phil Caponegro.
Here.
Frank Cabone.
Here.
Steve Chesler.
Here.
Michael Chincelli. Teresa Cinciano. Stephanie Cuevas. Ronan Daly. Giovanni Diamato. Aaron Drinkwater. Arthur DiBernarski.
Yes.
Yes. Lloyd Peng. Julia Amanda Foster. Mr. Garcia.
Mr. Gross, could you mute yourself?
Please, thank you. Crystal Garcia. Joe Goldstein. Joe Gross. David Helmick.
Here.
Sabrina Hill. Kenny Denny Horowitz.
I'm here.
Thank you. Moses Ending. Robert Jeffrey. Paulzina Kaminsky.
Here.
Thank you. Corey Canton.
Here.
Thank you. Paul Cultivorn.
Here.
Thank you. William Clagsville.
Here.
Thank you. Yolando. Maria Liaison, Marie.
Yes, here.
Yolo. Trina McKeever. Trina McKeever.
Here.
Sorry. Adam Myers.
Here.
Dante Michelli.
Here.
Toby Moskowitz.
Here.
Thank you. Rabbi David Needleman. Karen Nieves.
Here.
Mario Domerick.
I'm here.
Thank you. Janice Pearson. Janice Pearson. Can't hear
Here.
you.
Here.
Thank you. Bella Sable. Isaac Sofer. Del T.
Here.
William Vega.
Vega in the house.
Uh-oh. Maria Viera. Maria Viera. Simon Weiser. Twenty-six members answer the call. It's enough for the quorum.
Thank you, Sonia. Can I approve a motion to approve the agenda?
Hello, this is
Joe
Gina.
Gross.
I'm here for the meeting.
Who?
Gina, I'm sorry. Okay, Gina, got you.
I apologize. It took a while.
Mr. Gross, would you mute yourself, please?
Okay, Gina, I got you. Anybody else? Is Iris there? Because Iris didn't answer the call. I saw her. Uh-oh.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I make a motion, Bozina Kaminsky.
And
Captain
Vega, yeah.
Sorry.
Rosina Kaminsky and William Vega, all in favor?
No, it was
I heard Vega first.
Bozina and Phil.
Huh?
Bozina and Phil Caponegro.
It was Bozina and William
And Phil.
Vega.
I thought
Sonia,
Phil.
Sonia,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? Motion carried. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Joe Gross.
Is there a second?
William Vega seconds.
Joe Gross and William Vega, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, that don't sound like 26 ayes. Against? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Public session, can we have the speakers for the public session, please, Joanna?
Adela Alonso. Not present. Heidi Gomez. Not present. Miss Cameron Williams and Miss McLaurin. Not present. Benjamin Ingerman. Benjamin? You're muted. Benjamin? Hello, Benjamin? Next speaker is Rolf Carl. Not present. Next speaker is Teresa Toro. Not present. David Nash. David, you're muted.
Yep, I'm here. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just noticed that a lot of the host, I think, muted everyone, so I was unable to mute until just now. So I'm not sure if anyone else had the same issue, but
Got 2 minutes.
oh, am I speaking right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I'm sorry. I didn't know the format. Sorry. So I'm basically just wanted to speak on behalf of a variance permit that I've been applying for. We're doing some renovations on my house, looking to finish up in the next few weeks, honestly, hoping to finish by December before the weather gets cold. And all of the outside work is done, meaning from a noise perspective, there's no drilling, hammering, sawing, anything going on the outside of the house. Primarily looking to do, drywall work, some light carpentry on the inside of the house, but still hoping to go, to apply for the Saturday variance, which we have received in the past. Just haven't been able to acquire them over the past month or so. And we have written to Ms. Teague at the Land Use Committee also to plead our case. Also worth noting that our neighbors just 2 doors down from us seem to continually get them approved every Saturday where ours are denied. So we're just kind of a little bit unsure why that is, and hoping to appeal to the board to see if we could potentially get a letter that would allow us to get Saturday permits just for the next 3 or 4 weeks. That's my case, essentially. Happy to answer any questions as well, if anyone from the board has any for us.
There's no questions during this period.
Oh, okay.
The next speaker is Ryan Coonan. Oh. Ryan's not present. And that's it for speakers.
Thank you, Joanna. Next, we have committee reports. Landmarks.
Okay, hi, it's Trina. And I'm wondering if Rolf Carl is in the room, if we could make sure see if he's here, because he spoke at our committee meeting, and I know he was coming to speak to the full board. I'm wondering if we could give it another shot to see.
She said he wasn't here.
Yeah, I
Mr.
don't,
Calder.
Trina, I don't see his name listed here at all.
Okay.
I'm going through the list and I don't see him at all.
Okay. So I will go ahead then with the committee report. What the property that that we discussed is the property that presented to the full board at our at the October meeting. It's 144 Greenpoint Avenue, which is a building that is on the footprint of the old Polonaise Theater at the corner on Greenpoint Avenue, right at Manhattan. And what the presenter explained to us at the last month's meeting, again at the committee meeting, was they are going to keep the retaining walls of the Polonaise and keep the basic walls and rebuild the building with the Polonaise right now is a 2-story building and a 1-story building. It's 2 buildings put together. And on that property, they would like to build, they're proposing to build a 3-story building with a penthouse that will be a fully commercial building. And I think I don't need to go into the details because we all saw a very extensive presentation last month, which was repeated at our committee. And what the crux of what I think there were committee members that saw great benefit in the building, but there were a number of committee members. There were committee members and community members. Rolf Carl being the main community member that spoke, who spoke against the proposed height, and the issue that they saw was that the 2-story building, that the height of the Polonaise should be the height that should be maintained. Because to build a 3-story building would would go against the character of the historic district, and also would block the views from Greenpoint Avenue of the historic churches behind of St. Anthony's, as well as St. John's Lutheran on Milton Street. There were also issues that came up specifically about the building having to do with the ceiling heights on the upper floors, which are 14 feet, which seemed excessive. There was discussion about the canopy that sticks out over the doorway, and the fact that I think it's 8 feet. It's excessive in the district, and also the signage that was proposed. And after a lot of back and forth about the potential impacts of the size of the building, as well as the details of the building itself, I'll read you the resolution that the committee ended up coming to. And here it is. Noting the 1- and 2-story heights of the original and subsequent buildings at 144 Greenpoint Avenue, and how the structures of this mass and bulk harmoniously enhance the district, allowing views from Greenpoint Avenue of iconic bell towers on Manhattan Avenue, St. Anthony's, and Milton Street, St. John's Lutheran, as well as function to contextualize the historic bank building at 140 Greenpoint Avenue. Weighing these strong concerns against the project presented, after much deliberation, the committee recommends that the full board vote in favor of the certificate of appropriateness for the new design for 144 Greenpoint Avenue, with the following reservations. With consideration to the existing purpose-built commercial structures in the Greenpoint Historic District, we ask for an upgrading of material as well as design for a building less generic than what is presented. We ask that the ceiling heights on the 3rd floor and penthouse be reduced from 14 feet to a more reasonable height. We ask for canopies, especially over the front entrance, and signage to be reduced in size. And we ask for consideration of a redesign of the cornice, that the volume of the cornice be broken. That is the resolution that was voted on, and there were 13 yes votes and 1 no vote.
Can I add a few comments, Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'm the only one that voted no. And I love to add, I respect if the committee decided that way, but I continue to have a concern of the dynamic. I believe that something corrupted on the process, and I believe the committee didn't receive the point of Rolf Karl. I believe it was questioned, even the attendability that Rolf Karl was presenting the Milton Street Block Association that everybody has been knowing for years. And a 35 years old resident that has been a community activist, and many of the committee members know. There was even a question if there was a petition from the Block Association, which I'm also part of the Block Association. There was even an allusion that if that presentation for Rolf Karl was mine, because it needs to be known when actually it wasn't mine. I didn't have the time to do that. Rolf Karl stepped in, and he's been in contact with a resident, at least with the most affected resident there. And what has come out, then he's tried to point it out, and I don't think it was maybe legal, but definitely it wasn't very ethical, that the presentation, as frequently happened from developer, it was misleading. And these misrepresent really the project, misrepresent the view, the angle. There were points of obstruction of the tower bell of several churches, and I believe that wasn't really regarded. I also myself, I pointed out that the 1940s and the 30s tax block picture, actually the 1940 tax block picture, which this one document should not be cropped out, is what states that building and how the building was recorded as a landmark. The picture were cropped out. I believe this is something misleading in the presentation. I assume it was cropped out because a comparison with the historic bank building next to it to a one-story building The building is composed of two buildings, one very small in scale, would have triggered definitely a comparison with the little historic bank building. And it was not heard at all. I understand, I don't know for what reason, but there is a community there and we need to use tools. I understand this is a landmark, but we don't have to vote in favor and create the precedent for the next developer to come in sometime, you know, and I was kind of pointed out that I was a purist. I'm a contemporary designer. I will welcome something modern. I also only question the massing and the scale, and maybe not of the entire building, but one that could have an impact on the image of that bank building. And something else wasn't reported probably, but I didn't want to argue on the minute. I pointed out a larger community issue, which is the opening of 3 terraces, and we just heard people talking about terraces operating with bar on rooftop, and those are major community issue, but allowing something historically didn't happen there to have a development, enlarging the scale, and at that point, the moment you enlarge the scale, zoning as of right or not, when you're not in a landmark historic district. That's why they were there. You could open 3 terraces, they could become bar, open it up like on a canyon, like on a eco boxes, eco chamber to potentially, and for sure that will happen, have a tremendous impact on the quality of life of the neighbors, of which they are exhausted. They don't want to even come anymore to any meeting because they know, it's very well known, the community board doesn't respond to this. And I try to voice out with my accent, but I believe, you know, I'm...
Sante, can I interrupt you? There was a lot of discussion about the scale of the building at the committee report. It had nothing to do with your accident. And I think Rolf's presentation was really looked at by committee members and understood. There were what the developer had done, there was a front-on view of the Polonaise, and then the comparison of what the project would look like was from the side. And from the side, if you were to take a side view of the Polonaise, you saw the church towers. I think that was, and so thereby proving that the development will block the view of the church towers. I think the committee members understood that and still thought that the points made in the resolution, that it seemed as if a 4-story building or 3-story building with a penthouse that's set back, people were okay with it on the committee. And so it's not that you were misunderstood. I think you were very understood and very listened to, and there was extensive hour-long discussion about the scale of the building.
I understand that, Trina, but I believe it's something that I keep hearing, because when Rolf Carr is questioned, when I'm questioned, and most, if there is a petition, of which it takes nothing to put a petition in place from a block association, which we've been historically involved, and you know, we don't need to right to that extreme. I believe it's kind of a little bit awkward that happened that night, especially to Rolf Carr. But I believe when committee members, they don't live there, they don't reside there, and there is potential to something that could have a tremendous impact on the quality of life, the community should back up.
Sante, the Landmarks Committee is not interested in discussing that.
But you see, I understand that, but we are here to discuss issue about community. We don't have tools. We said, oh, that's city planning. We should use the tool that we have. And I believe why we feel, let me finish, Trina, please. Let me finish the point. I'm not arguing, the vote has been what it is, but I need to express, because we're gonna have to resent the consequence of this. Why a committee cannot work on and trying to push a developer to stay on a smaller scale. There were arguments to keep the building on a smaller scale. And why do we want to create the foundation to invite the next developer? A statement was made there that there were many smaller buildings that were looking forward to be expanded. That's what the architect said all around. I don't think it's fair. And the comparison that were brought, including the Collier Street development next to the bank, I point, because I know that project very well. I said that they didn't expand. The point of reference was the dome of the bank. didn't expand in height higher than that. This one expanded in height. They used that one of the building they compare was Collier Street or other taller building. This is a matter of vision. And I understand that there is another architect can give input, but honestly, I believe there is other way of using that. And it doesn't mean to be purist. Purist, somebody want to replicate exactly that building, but the scale can have other impact on a community. And as a community board, we should use the tool that we have. We don't have many tools. The city planning, we don't have any tools.
Sanjay, there were a number of people on the committee who didn't have a problem with the scale.
Yes, and they don't live there. They're not going to be impacted, and that's it. And the only advantage that they had is that the community is exhausted. They don't have the energy to come and to attend and complain. They have family, you know, and it's a big burden.
Okay, Sante, please summarize.
I just wanna
Sante, calm down.
Okay.
Please
Madam
summarize
Chair.
in case, you know, if anybody else got anything to say. Maybe somebody else got some questions. So please summarize your point.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion to accept the committee report and approve this project as it was presented by the Trina? This is Bozina Kaminsky. We have talked to the very length about this project. Everybody had the time to speak, and I think this time is exhausted, and we have to move on.
William Vega seconds.
Thank you, Mr. But I think other people have some comments before we do the motion. And I think people just want the full board to understand the concept of what's going on here. I think Vega asked to speak, right?
No, I was just second. You want to hold off? So.
Oh,
so the people
okay,
follow.
go ahead. Go ahead, Katie.
I just wanted to say that, you know, we've had this conversation before about decorum and not disregarding committee's experience after they voted. We've received apologies when there are similar outbursts, so I just wanted to remind the members of that.
Thank you, Katie.
Are you saying that this is not challenging anything? It's just challenging a project, Katie. You know, there is not about decorum. I'm not.
Sunday, you said that some of the members didn't live there, so didn't deserve to have an opinion.
Okay, guys, let's move on. I see this is not going to get into that.
Mischaracterizing what I said, but again.
Dante, please. Is there any more comments on this issue?
Madam Chair, Stephen Chesler.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge the the work that Ralph Carl. He did an extensive kind of photo expose. He took detailed photographs from the roof on Milton Street and then from the Greenpoint Avenue, and he highlighted the potential problems with the developer's presentation. And it was not subtle. Clearly the angle that Trina referred to across the street from where the Polonaise is, it was supposed to be a comparable vantage point with the Polonaise and with the new building, and the angles were different. And if you went to the angle exactly that lined up with the Polonaise, which is next to the dining shed outside Cascade, you can clearly see the steeple and bell tower from St. Anthony's. So, and a similar situation happened with St. John's from a different angle, from that bell tower and steeple. So I just want to acknowledge that. The word was deception was used. I think it was a different term, but basically something along those lines. The developer pushed back on that, but like I said, it was not subtle. The difference between Rolf's photograph and what how developers presented. I walked the area, and I noticed those church steeples are so powerful in the neighborhood. But I think we were I think we're considering, I mean, I understand Sante's standpoint from the design standpoint, in reference to the smaller buildings, the bank building and the other little building next to that. But then there's what they call the broken tooth, where you have larger buildings kind of to the east of that, and then you have the Polonaise, which is partly 2 stories and 1 stories, and then you go into these tiny buildings, and then you have the larger 4-story buildings beyond that. And so, you know, you're in removing the view of those church towers, you know, it's affecting the whole spirit and of the historic district. But I inevitably voted for the design because I feel like the full 3-story building, I feel like it fills in, I think, in a way that I think is important. And then from just, you know, from the uses, you know, the potential for more business and workers there. I do acknowledge Sante's deep concern about what they might use those terraces for, which are required by the zoning to have, quote unquote, you know, open space or rear yard. But, and then just regarding, the question was asked of Rolf and Sante if they were representing the Milton Street Block Association, and they said no, they were just members of that entity. So I think that distinction was made, even though, you know, they've lived there for a long time, and Sante's been incredibly active there. So
I believe Rolf said, Steve, Rolf said that he was representing the block association.
no, he said he wasn't. He said he could get names of people to show up, but I thought he specifically said no, unless I heard differently. But I just say I weighed, it was, you know, kind of a tough decision for me, weighing the view and the historical nature versus what I felt was a better design and the potential for, you know, enhanced businesses there, hopefully not, you know, rooftop bars or event spaces. So that is my 2 cents.
I'd like to make.
Thank you, Steve. Is there any other comments?
Also, the agenda, Madam Chair, the landmark preservation hearing agenda, still today, Trina, I know we discussed that, is still report that is to demolish and rebuild the building.
I received, they couldn't change it, Sante. They said, the guy from Landmarks actually wrote to me after the developer had spoken, and I should have shared it with you. That they understand that it's not a demolish, that it is, the building is, they're keeping the retaining walls and they're building from the existing building. It's not being demolished.
Okay, I didn't receive anything, so to me, still there was that suspicion that the hearing agenda still report a full demolition.
No, he acknowledged that they couldn't change the agenda, that the agenda was out, but that it's wrong. The other point I want to make is if the committee or if the board were to vote against, to say that they wanted the 2-story building and to object to the height and bulk, we wouldn't be able to make the points specific to the design itself that are in the resolution. We would we'd sacrifice our ability to make those points, and those are points that the LPC, one would hope, would listen to and could actually help the design rather than to reject the design totally. And so that
I disagree, Trina, because the moment the building is smaller, this issue don't exist anymore. So this input is only to favor their design and give.
Yeah, but Sante, I think there's a feeling that LPC will approve the building at that height and bulk. And so if we are to comment on it, we have to go with the resolution the way it's written. I mean, it's an opposing point of view. There's the point of view that you make, Sante, which is that we should reject it altogether. And then there's the opposing point of view, which is what the resolution reflects, is that we mention specifics about how the design could be improved.
Okay, is there any other comments before we take a vote?
The council member's had his hand raised for a long time.
Does he want to comment on this issue?
No, I was just hoping to say hello and give an update, but I've had my hand up for, I don't know, 45 minutes, but happy to whenever I'm allowed to.
Well, I didn't see your hand, so I'm sorry. Let us finish this vote, Councilman.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, a vote has been a motion by Kaminsky, second by Vega. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
The motion was to accept the board's resolution. That was the motion. What was the motion?
Yes, the motion was to accept the resolution made by the committee, presented by Trina.
Okay, thank you. Gina Artento,
Yes.
Baden Bakarowski. Baden Bakarowski. Lisa Bamonte. Gina Barrows.
Yes.
Eric Brusitis.
Yes.
Iris Cabrera.
No.
No. Bill Caponegro.
Yes.
Frank Cabone.
Yes.
Stephen Chesler.
Yes.
Michael Chinchelli. Teresa Secano. Oh, Stephanie Cuevas. Ron Daly. Giovanni D'Amato.
Yes.
Eric Drinkwater. Arthur Dibanowski.
Yes.
Lloyd Fang. Julia Mondefasta. Crystal Garcia. Joe Goldstein. Joe Goldstein. Joe Gross.
Yes.
David Helmick.
Yes.
Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz.
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moses Ending. Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
Paulina Kaminsky.
Yes.
Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kulterborn.
Yes.
William Klagsburn.
Yes.
Yolando. Marie Liaison.
Yes.
Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Adam Myers.
Yes.
Sante Michelli.
No.
Sante. Okay. Toby Markowitz. Toby Markowitz.
Yes.
Yes. Rabbi David Needleman. Karen Nieves.
Yes.
Maria Domerick. Yes. Janice Peterson.
No.
Bella Sable. Bella Sable.
She's on and she can't get the sound.
I don't see her. Bella, I
She
see
is
her.
on.
I see her name, but Bella.
She's hearing but can't see.
Uh-oh.
Should I call her and ask her her vote or what?
I don't
Can
know
she
that.
call? Who she
I'm
could?
new. I'm new at
Huh?
this, Madam Chair, but anyway.
How can she call in?
Yeah.
You can call the
Delty?
board office.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Isaac Sofer. Did I say? William Vega.
Yes.
Maria Vieira.
Yeah, call the community board.
Simon Weiser. And she put herself on the. She put a video. 1, 2, 3. Janice, is she calling or do I just say the numbers? I tally it?
She's calling the community board.
Joanna, please pick up her bell and get her vote.
The phone is not ringing. Well, it just rang. Bella? They want to hear your vote. Is it yes or no? Bella said no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Start working. Well, look, it has to be there. It doesn't make sense. It fell out of the car probably. I don't know. Unless I took it in by mistake when I went in, huh?
Toby, please mute yourself.
Sorry about that.
25 yes, 4 no, 0 abstentions, 0 recusal, motion carries.
Thank you, Sonia. Trina?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Trina. Councilman Ressler.
Hi, how are you? Sorry about that. I'm just on two community boards at the same time. It's good to be with CB1 tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to say hello. Let me just tell these other folks that I'm going to be right back. CB2, I'll be right back in a minute. I'm sorry, I'm on with CB1. I apologize. So CB1, great to be with you all. It's been had a great day running around our district. Started the morning with the Greenpoint Ferry folks, Len Lease and the whole team. It has been, I don't know, 8 long freaking months without our ferry. But the good news is we are on the precipice of the restoration of ferry service. So good news is coming very, very, very soon. We have been pushing to get the final approvals done, get the work done, get a temporary plank in place so that we can get that ferry moving again for folks, on the edge of Greenpoint. It can be close to a mile to get to the G train, and we need that ferry service. While we work through potentially longer term plans on McGinnis, there are some short term improvements that are happening to improve safety conditions. Some of the work is actually beginning as soon as this evening. There's going to be some additional pedestrian space at Driggs, Engert, and Nassau. We're going to have daylighting at a number of intersections ranging from Bayard all the way up to Java, and expanded space in the medians. We are laser focused, myself, Assemblymember Gallagher, and folks across the community on actually making McGinnis safe. And these are some changes from the Department of Transportation that are welcomed, and I'm pleased to see them getting installed and implemented this fall. I spent part of the afternoon today over at Taylor White with Rabbi Niederman and a couple of our great tenant leaders like Mr. Gross from Jonathan Williams and Samuel Gutman in Independence. NYCHA had taken away a critical walkway connecting Bedford Gardens and the community in Williamsburg to Taylor White, where entrance comes up on Ross Street, I guess what's near White Place. And we're working hard to see that parking lot return back to the community as park space. So we've been making good progress with NYCHA. They were very receptive and responsive to us today, and I'm hopeful that we'll have a positive resolution to share with the community that we can see implemented in the spring. But I want to thank the community in South Williamsburg for their leadership. Last week, we announced a big new tree plan that we could not be more excited about. Over the next 4 years, we are planting 3,400 trees across District 33. Every viable tree pit or tree bed is getting a new tree. And the Parks Department's been a great partner on this. We're raising money from the community to help us fund more street trees. I really want to thank Katie Denny Horowitz and the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance for being a partner to us and our fiscal conduit on that street tree plan. We're thrilled about it. Street trees are one of the best climate solutions that we can implement together for addressing the urban heat island effect, for addressing stormwater runoff, for just the beautification and quality of life of our neighborhoods. Trees make an enormous difference. So we're excited to see a lot more trees get planted across District 33 over the next 4 years. We're working on some dog run improvements and announcements. We'll be making them next week, including a brand new dog run over at McCarran Park. We're really focused on trying to improve the conditions across many of our deplorable dog runs in our community. A big thing that I want to highlight is next Monday, November 14th, we are having a Greenpoint and Northside town hall. Emily Gallagher will be there, as will a number of city agencies, the Department of Transportation, the Department of Sanitation, the Parks Department. This is a chance for you to engage with me and my team and city agencies and get every one of your questions answered. If you have concerns or issues around the neighborhood that you want to highlight for us, come to our town hall, ask your question in advance, sign up and join us. It's on all our social media, on our email newsletters and all that stuff. I can try and figure out how to put in the chat, although I apologize, I'm not that competent. But please come through. It should be a really great conversation, an opportunity for you to share your priorities across Greenpoint and the North Side. We're doing town halls across every neighborhood in our district. These are virtual on Zoom, so it's easy to jump on while you're doing whatever else you're doing. And I really hope to see you there. And also encourage everyone to come out on Sunday. We're really excited about the revived Friends of McGolrick Park group that is doing great work in McGolrick Park, getting more neighbors involved, cleaning up the park, planting bulbs. We had a great event about 3 weeks ago. We're having another event on Sunday. Our office is going to be distributing leaf bags for everybody that needs a place to get rid of your leaf bags. We'll be there. And we've been doing our best to hold the Parks Department accountable to get this construction project done at McGolrick. They've completed the northern half of the park. They're now transitioned to the southern half, and we're pushing and pushing to try and get that done fast. So if any questions for us or anything that I can do to be helpful, never hesitate to reach out to me and our team, District 33 at council.nyc.gov or 718-875-5200. And really just appreciate all the effort that CB1 members and community members put into making our neighborhoods even better, and appreciate the opportunity to say hello.
Thank you, Councilman. Be safe, be healthy.
Thank you, Chair.
Next, land use, Del Teague.
Thank you. So we didn't have anything officially on the agenda for land use. However, our chair asked me to bring up the several requests that we had by developers for after-hour variances. So that these are variances where they ask to be allowed to work beyond the normal hours that they're allowed. Often it's on the weekends or in the evenings or very early in the morning. Now, some years ago, the community board voted to not support these requests because of the request of the residents, saying that they really needed to have a break from all of the noise and the extra traffic that that these developers make and produce, and that they just needed their weekends to have some peace and quiet. So since our letter, and so traditionally when the city notifies us that a developer is asking for approval of one of these variances, we give them a letter that says that the official position of the community board, because of the prior vote, is that we don't support these variances. So I just want to make it clear that there has not been a change in the community board's policy or response. Now, we had, at the time of the meeting, I knew of 2 variance requests. One was from Williamsburg Houses, asking to be able to work on Saturdays from 9 to 4, I think it was. And the way they describe it, their work would only be done in internal corridors and hallways. And they said that they really needed to do this because in doing, as many of you know, because Williamsburg Houses is a historic and very large project that we've been very supportive of. When they do the renovations, they take tenants who are already there and they move them out of their normal apartment, move them to an empty apartment until they finish, and then they move them back again. So they were hoping to be able to get the work done as soon as possible because of the inconvenience to the tenants of moving them around. And the other thing that the developer for Williamsburg Houses assured us was that this is not going to make any noise to the outside community. This is all internal work, plumbing, rerouting, Wi-Fi, things like that. So on the other hand, the other request from Alley Construction for 111 Clay Street, as far as we know, that will involve outside outdoor work. At least that was our understanding. Now, at the time, at the committee meeting, I said I thought that it was kind of unusual for requests to be made for just internal work. However, after the committee meeting, I then realized that there was yet a third request, and that's for 676 Lorimer Street. And that request is also just to do some internal work, which the developer says will not create any noise or traffic or any kind of other infringement on the lives and the quality of life of the residents outside. So apparently, the idea that, they would be asking for permission to work just internally is not so rare, because we now have two such requests. So we felt that it was not proper to try to take a vote on this, because the first resolution not supporting these variances was made pursuant to a request from the community, and this was not on our agenda. But we did have a general discussion, and as I mentioned in my report, some members felt we should, the standing resolution should remain as it was. Others, however, thought, well, maybe we should revisit it, especially since we now know that we have some requests that are just for internal work, which may not involve affecting the quality of life of people outside of the building, versus the work that's going to be done, that's going to be making noise and affecting everybody's peace and quiet. So several of us realized that the Williamsburg Houses has a tenant association, and we thought that perhaps the developer could get support from the tenants association, so that we could be reassured that indeed this would not be affecting the quality of life of the residents. And then after the developer agreed to do that. However, Joanna also contacted the president of the Tenants Association, and the Tenants Association has notified us that they are in favor of the developer getting the work done faster and getting support for the variance from us. So I don't know what the board wants to do with this. It was not officially made a part of our agenda. However, I have two thoughts. One is that I think that we should continue to always err on the side of protecting the quality of life of our residents, especially since the individual community residents have made it over the years very clear to us that they really would not like to support the additional noise and work in the evenings, very early in the morning, and on the weekends. On the other hand, it seems to me, and I think to a number of people on the committee, that it doesn't really make sense to have that attitude toward variances for work that's being done strictly internally. And so, for instance, if a building is already occupied, we could perhaps get support from the residents of the building that they would like to see the work done faster, and they don't mind having the work done on the weekends. And if there's no one in the building, and if the community board is assured, we're convinced that the work that will be done will not affect the quality of life of the residents, then we may want to have, two categories. Might want to continue with not supporting the extra hours with the for outside work, and having the inside work handled on an individual case-by-case basis. That's a thought. It's a suggestion, and I guess I have to leave this open to discussion. And let me just mention that the city can always what we suggest to the city, it's just a recommendation. The city is not bound by our suggestion.
Any discussion on this item?
Yes, can I make a comment, Iris Cabrera?
Yes, please.
I'm just wanted to be clear, because I believe we had this conversation when Sandy was asking for extra hours for the construction of the building of the Broadway Triangle.
Yeah.
And also, okay, I just wanted, because I thought I heard about this.
Yes.
So
As a matter of fact, that was one of my reasons for saying, look, we did not approve the Broadway Triangle. I don't know why we would, want to move to approve other developers who are going to be creating a lot of noise on the weekends if they get their variances. So yes, Iris.
Okay, so I feel that if it's something that is gonna affect the community, I feel that we should continue with the same idea that don't give permission. But if it's something that is inside and the tenant or the people in the building agree, I think we should take that into consideration and see case by case. This is my opinion.
I personally agree with you, but I guess we should have some more discussion.
Speaker.
Corey has her hand up.
Joe.
Hi. Hi, this is Mr. Gross. I'm a TA president where we was having construction the last 2 years. And from mine experiences, a lot of residents is used to the noise from the whole week. They need the weekend to be quiet. A lot of residents is home on the weekends, Sundays, and they would like really to have a day with relaxing with no noise. I would recommend they should not work on a weekend. I have that experience in my development with the same question, and everybody was against working the weekend.
What about how about as Iris if it's all just
Joe, Joe, please mute yourself when you're not speaking because we're getting interference from you. Okay, Dale.
So how about if, as Iris suggested, if the work is only being done internally, that we take into consideration if the tenants approve it and say that that they would be fine with getting the work done faster.
Internally, working is a lot of noise. It's a lot of rehab. It vibrates the neighbors. It's a lot of noise even internally. It's a fact.
Can I interject, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, Ms. Corey has her hand up. People, I'm trying to watch everybody. Ms. Corey has her hand up.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sonia. I wanted to agree. I think that just generally as a resident, there's a lot of feedback that there's too much construction noise in the neighborhood. It is true that there are times that internal work isn't actually an issue, but I agree with Dell in the point of there being some kind of a letter that's provided. And so if we could give that instruction so that a developer, or in the instance with the gentleman who was on the beginning of this call, if it is that it's just internal work within his own home, then I think something like that doesn't necessarily bother others. But otherwise, I think that the land use committee is going to be barraged with requests. And generally speaking, our neighborhood needs a little bit of peace.
Okay, I see Jan's hand. Jan Peterson.
Here. No, I would say is that we talked about this before. I said the rules should be the same as we gave to the Triangle. We told them that if they went out and got agreement from the people that lived around the Triangle, we were open. And I would say the same thing to public housing tenant groups, because every tenant group is not so organized that they know what all the tenants on their floor think. I think it's very important that the people that are affected get a chance to, either we don't add it, or if we do add it, we have to say that the people that are personally affected by the construction should have signed a letter saying it's okay. Because every developer has organizers that can go door to door if they really want to do it. And I noticed that when we did the St. Nick's Lasures UJO, they did not come back with a letter from the people that lived around there. I don't know what's happening now. It would be interesting to know, but I would just add that as another thing. If we are putting that criteria in, Dell, that it's very specific, because every tenant group doesn't talk to all their tenants either. Everybody doesn't get down to the bottom to the people that are affected. That's all. And otherwise, I go with the last speaker.
Dante Michelli.
I have my hands up
Yes.
before, Madam Chair.
I'm going by the hands I see. I'm down.
Sorry, my digital hand doesn't work, so that's why I was
Well, I see your hand up on the screen.
Yeah, because it doesn't work, my digital hand there. So, but you let me know if somebody else was before me. I don't know. I
Go
think
ahead, Sonia.
I just wanted to echo, it can't be different rules for different fools. We made a resolution, we determined a decision, and I've had experience where internal work in my building has caused chaos. So I don't think it's quiet whether it's not hammering. No, they've done plumbing and the workers come, the truck. It's not quiet. So I don't think there should be different rules for different fools. We should stick to our resolution, and that's that.
Okay, Sante, and then Adam Myers.
Yeah, no, I want to add something. I remember vaguely William Vega stated something at the last committee member that one time that the city recognized one of the community board recommendation, we should take on that. So, that's one definitely first point, I believe, very important. And then also I concur with Joel and with Sonia and others. And I spent many years working in construction site too. I had a manufacturing business. I know what noise and how noise can be produced and what does it mean it's interior work. You could have an adjoining building. Most of the noise are actually produced from interior work. You use a circular saw, you use a jackhammer, then there's like a 20 power drill that I use. There is so many. Then there is the involved the delivery and the truck they are coming over the weekend. They are connected to that. I believe opening a construction site. Something is some individual which they can do legally. They want to paint their house. Probably painting a house, I don't think it's a major noisy type of work. But any other sheetrock, drilling, mounting studs, whatever that means, even running wire when you have to drill because you're running wire is going to produce noise, is going to produce vibration. And so it's kind of very vague and very subtle way to allow to happen something which we cannot define what it is exactly. And so I will be against that because I know it's going to be impact. And definitely association, as Janice said, who knows who is really affected. Maybe only 3-4 people will be affected, and then they should pay the consequences and have no voice in that regard. So I'm against that. I believe if you are a developer, if you are a manufacturer, if you are a subcontractor, you know when.
Charlie,
Oh,
we got
sure,
your point. Adam Myers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm inclined to differ from most of the folks that have already weighed in. I think that this is an area where some greater flexibility and case-by-case consideration might actually be a powerful tool for the community board. I think that a lot of people feel frustrated that the people that live in this community have so little control over the direction that the neighborhood's development has taken. They have relatively little input on, on a given site, what project goes in, whether it's affordable housing or whether it's, a loud rooftop bar. And while it may seem like a small thing, the ability to grant these variances is actually a sort of tool that we as a community board could use to encourage some kinds of development and discourage others. When you grant this variance, you allow the project to happen more quickly and you reduce the costs of that project. And when you don't, you lengthen the project and you increase the costs. And so if we applied this thoughtfully, we could actually have some real impact on the kinds of development that we're encouraging and discouraging in our neighborhood. And I don't know why we wouldn't try to exercise that power on behalf of our constituents. The other point that I want to make, though, is regardless of what decision we come to, whether we come up with a new rule or whether we stick with the same old oppose everything, I think the most important thing is real transparency here, because it's very clear that the people writing these emails into us don't have a good sense of what the process is, don't have a good sense of what the rule is. And that's in nobody's best interest because we're not sure what to do with their responses and they're not sure even what they're asking for. And so whatever the rule is, we should be very transparent about it and do our best to communicate this publicly. We could have information on our website about what the community board's policy and procedure are with respect to requests for support on variance applications. And I think that would be helpful, whatever the substantive rule is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would
Steve
like to just,
Chesler?
I'd like to add one thing to that. I'd just like to respond. I think that I wouldn't see this as a way to discourage certain types of development, encourage others. I think if we get into that, this is going to be chaos, and there's going to be a tremendous sense of, well, the community board is just allowing it for projects they like, or some people on the community board like and don't like, and in the middle will be our poor residents who will, who are going to be subject to all of the inconvenience and the harassment of the extra noise. The more I listen to people, the more I'm inclined to go with leaving it as it is, continuing to not support these extra hour variances. And I think in terms of other things like the rooftop gardens and the rooftop restaurants and clubs, I think we've made pretty clear our sense that we don't want them, and it's a fight that we're in the middle of. But anyways, I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Steve wants.
Madam Chair, Steve Chesler.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I hear my fellow board members, just about just the hell that is, construction, whether it's external, internal, especially after hours or on the weekends. I just hear it from lots of people who are on the board, and I've experienced just interior in the building next door when they were redoing all the apartments next door, just the sledgehammers, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like if, DOP is kind of, they're now deferring to the board to respond to these applications or these requests. I feel like we should at least do due diligence. I know maybe we're making a lot more work for us, but I feel like there should be a process where the board and the appropriate committee is made aware and it's included in their committee report that these applications came through, and just consider for a moment, I don't know, I'm just thinking, is there an emergency situation? Not necessarily if it has X amount of affordable housing, but say there's an emergency repair to a building or apartment or something that can't, using the normal,
Steve, it's my understanding that the city has assured us that if there's an emergency or if it's for a school, they're going to allow the variance. So that's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Well, I don't know if there's something even, okay, let's, that's good to hear, but because I was taken back by the Broadway Triangle request because I was not aware of the board policy that was passed 9 years ago. So I just feel like that, as we go on through the years and we bring on new board members, I feel like people need to have awareness of what the policy is and just have, pass through the committee. If it is a land use committee, at least acknowledge, we received this application for X company, Acme Construction, to do this work. And, doesn't adhere to our policy. And I don't know if something can potentially be flagged. I don't know, necessarily what that is. It's beyond, like if it's gone beyond DOB's emergency threshold. I hear everyone, but I feel like I'm kind of, I'm picking up on Adam's sentiment that maybe there might be extenuating circumstances somewhere. I think, Marie Vieira, I think she was brought up about the Williamsburg houses and bringing broadband or Wi-Fi to the residents there. But then the other side of, well, maybe that's great, but the tenants want to go through hell on the weekends to have that installed. But I feel like we should have the conversation. Hopefully not, with overburdening the committee.
Madam Chair, it's Mary Okamura.
For what?
Mary, I got some hands up. I don't see your hand up.
Yeah, because
Well,
it
let
doesn't,
me call Katie Dennis Harvest, and then you can speak next, okay?
okay, mine doesn't work, that's why.
Okay, I'm sorry. Katie?
Thank you, Chair. Mary, you're welcome to go ahead of me if you like.
I just have a short comment. I am actually living right next door to a new building that is going up, new construction. And my house is soundproofed and I hear every nail that is being put into the wall. Inside, outside, doesn't matter. It is horrendous. That's all I need to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go. Yeah, Mary, I hear you. I have 40-story towers being built around me all the time. And what I was going to say is I just to echo Adam and I think Steve's comment is that I do think reviewing them on a case-by-case basis could provide accountability, and also to hear, for me, this is personal. Everyone has their personal experiences with construction in this neighborhood. A compelling ask would be to shorten the construction timeline, because as horrible as it is to experience it, my preference would be to experience it in a more concise area, even if a concise time period, rather than have it extended, and that's a personal preference, right? But that understanding the difference of what that time might make could influence whether or not people can deal with it on those additional hours. And the other thing is that, they might do it anyway, right? And so you might have neighbors kind of battling these construction sites who go against it and just do construction anyway, and sort of doing this and potentially allowing it on a case-by-case basis could be a way to provide information to people that some folks are allowed to do it, that might encourage them to say in between certain hours that they might adhere to the community's wishes in that way. So I think Adam maybe put it a little more eloquently than I, but I just wanted to share my agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Is there any other discussion on anybody?
Yeah, this is Dell again. I just want to mention that I'm wondering if this would be opening up a nightmare case by case for all of these different requests that come through, and how are we really going to differentiate from one builder versus another builder when, I don't know. I just wonder that I don't understand what we're opening up for ourselves here. But that's my thought.
William Vega?
Thank you. I just want to, I think it was Della mentioned it. I used to work for the city small business services, and I was with the emergency response unit. If there's an emergency, as long as it's a licensed professional, they get started with the work, and then the permits will be pulled afterwards. I think we should have a subcommittee to review this to see how many of these requests we get, and then I think we should try it out. Maybe a test case. That's a test pilot case. Thank you.
Thank you, Vega. Sounds like a good idea.
I still don't understand how would we allow one development versus another? They're all going to be making, these developments do pretty much all the same kind of noise. They make the same noise, they make the same kinds of interference in people's peace and quiet. I don't know how we would then differentiate one from the other.
Yeah,
Yes, who's speaking?
it's Marie.
Okay, Marie.
Yeah, I just want to, who do we represent? Do we represent all the people that are building all these high rises, or do we represent the community that constantly comes in front of us and say that they work all week and they need to sleep during the weekend? If we have something already set saying no, we should just leave it and not keep this nightmare going. That's what I'm saying. If I represent my community people, I'm going to go what they say, because they're the ones that live in the community. These construction people, it's getting unbearable, and more high rises are being built. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Public housing residents will always say no to construction on the weekend.
Okay,
I would like to give, after hearing all of this, I would like to make a motion that we leave our policy as it is, where we do not support the extra hours. And then if there's an emergency or a school or the city decides that there are extenuating circumstances, then of course we understand if the city grants the variance.
I'll second that.
I think,
Who seconded?
Lisa Bamonte.
Okay. Dell, Lisa Bamonte, can we have a roll call vote, please, Sonia?
Can I ask for a point of clarification?
Yes.
So I heard Dell say that on the one hand, we'll stick with our old policy, but then I also heard something about a caveat that, we leave it to the Department of Buildings to identify whether there are extenuating circumstances here, which I don't believe was part of the original policy. And so I'd just like clarification on what the vote is, what the
All
proposed
right,
policy is.
I'll take away, I'll remove that's a good point. I'll remove the extenuating circumstances. So the motion would be, if we would understand if it's an emergency, or a school building, that we would understand, if they granted the variance. I believe that's what the city policy is. And am I still seconded?
Yeah, Lisa Bamonte, one
Yes.
quick question. So with the result of the vote, are we going to do as Adam suggested, put the resolution on the website, let people know, the contractors, share it?
That's not part of the motion, Sonia.
But okay, never mind.
I have a question also. So then if this motion passes, what happens when DOB sends a request to the board? Then what will happen?
Then we send out the letter saying what our policy is. We will
And then
send
the
them
board,
this
and the members will be informed accordingly as well?
Yes, of course.
That's what I was meant to ask. So do we put it publicly? That's what I wanted to ask.
I mean, if it's a resolution, then it is public.
Oh, okay. Ready for
But
the
wait.
call? Ready, Madam Chair?
Yes, can we vote?
Had my hand up too. I'm just saying is that you're asking, Sonia's asking, will it go on the website? Are you motioning? I think it should go on the website. I think people have been bringing up quite often that they want more information on the website so people can see what to do because they're confused. And people didn't even remember the 9-year thing. So I would hope that this time we put it on the website, our policy. And I'd like to add that to the resolution, if you would accept that, Dell.
Sure, why not? Let's continue with the vote.
Real quick, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to speak again, but this is David. I spoke earlier.
I'm sorry,
I'm
David. I'm sorry, David. This is the board meeting. You're not allowed to speak.
Could I make a comment, Madam Chair, before the vote? This
Yes.
is Paul Kelterborn. I think the problem with the blanket statement like this is it leaves, there's no discretion for people like this earlier speaker, who might just be a homeowner doing interior work. We talk about representing the community, and I can understand that if there's a large development site, that's a huge disruption to a lot of people's lives on the weekends. But I think we're also, if we're representing the community, it's people that are also doing, interior work on their house. And so I'm not sure if this kind of like one size fits all approach is really the right one.
So we're voting now, so can we have this vote, please? It'll either pass or it won't.
Sonia, call the roll, please. Roll call vote, please.
Dina Argento.
Abstain.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Can we?
Who's speaking?
Sonia, please call the roll.
Baldwin Bakowski. Baldwin Bakowski. Lisa Bamonte.
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Eric Bazides. Eric Bazides. Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Philip Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone, Stephen Chesler,
No.
Michael Chancelli, Teresa Cienciano, Stephanie Cuevas, Ron Daly, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Eric Drinkwaters, Aaron, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fling, Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia, Joe Ghost.
Yes.
That
Yes.
Crystal. Joe Gross.
Yes.
David Helmick,
Yes.
Sabrina Hope, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Sonia, I can barely hear you, but no.
Katie. Okay,
N-
no.
no.
Oh, sorry. Sonia, yes. Motions ending. Robert Jeffrey,
No.
no. Bosina Kaminsky,
I abstain.
you abstain. Corey Canton,
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn,
No.
Paul Kilterborn,
No.
William Klasberg, Yolando, Marie Liaison,
Yes.
Yolo, Trina McKeever,
No.
Adam Myers,
No.
Dante Machelli,
Yes.
Tommy Markowitz,
No.
Steve. Guys, gotta mute yourself. Toby Markowitz,
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute, yes.
Rabbi David Needleman,
I have a project pending now, the Broadway Triangle. Am I recused or not?
what's your vote? What is your vote? Yes, no, abstain?
I recuse myself because I have a project now.
Choose yourself. Okay. Karen Nieves, Karen Nieves,
David, please mute yourself. Mr. Hamlet, please mute yourself.
guys help me. I think my thing is going, my laptop is going bad. Karen Nieves, Karen, Maria Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson,
Yes.
Bella Sables,
Bella, can you say your vote? Bella say yes.
okay. Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Yes.
William Vega,
No.
Maria Viera, Simon Weiser.
Sonia? It's Eric. Did you get my abstention?
No, thank you, Eric.
Okay.
Nineteen yes, 7 no, 2 abstentions, 1 recusal. Motion carries.
Okay, that's
Thank you,
all I
Sonia.
have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Del.
Thanks.
SLA, Dabanowski.
Good evening, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. We held our meeting on October 25th. We had quorum with 6 members present. I hope our board members read our report. We had 6 new liquor license applications, 10 previously postponed, and 11 renewals. I would like to ask the board to accept our report as it is. Can I have a motion?
Sonia makes a motion.
I second it.
Sonia and Gina Barros, roll call vote, please.
Gina Argento,
Yes.
Martin Bakowski, Lisa Bermonte,
Yes.
Gina Barrows,
Yes. Yes.
Eric Rosaitis, Eric, okay,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro, Phil, Frank, Phil, yes, Frank Cabone, Frank, Steve Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chinchelli, Teresa Sensado, Stephanie Cuevas, Juan Daly, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwaters, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fane, Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia,
Yes.
Joe Goldstein,
Yes.
Joe Gross,
Yes.
David Helmick,
Yes.
Sabrina Help, Katie Danny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias, yes, Moses Zinding, Robert Jeffrey,
Yes.
Bonzina Kaminsky, Bonzina,
Yes. Yes.
thank you, Corey Canton, Corey Canton, Paul Kilterborn,
Yes.
William Klasberg,
Yes.
Joe Lando, Marie Liaison,
Yes.
Joe Lowe, Tina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
Yes.
Dante Machelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz,
Yes.
Rabbi Needleman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves, Carrie,
I'm
Mary
yes.
Mary Domerick, Janice
Yes.
Peterson, Jan,
Yes.
thank you, Bella Sables, Bella,
Ella say yes.
thank you, Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Yes.
William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Viera, Simon Weiser. Thirty-one yes, zero no, zero abstentions, and zero recusal. Motion carries.
Thank you, Sonia.
The last thing, Madam Chair, I just want to say that our next SLA meeting will be held on November 28th, right after Thanksgiving, at 6:30 p.m. at Swingy 60s.
Thank you, Debonowski.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. Bylaws, Adam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We met on October 26th. This was the first meeting of this term for the Bylaws Committee. Our stated agenda involved.
Tengo un teléfono, debiste de unlock it.
I'm sorry?
Everybody, please mute yourself if you're not speaking.
Our stated agenda was to review the current bylaws and to discuss parliamentary issues. And the discussion that we had was basically one of considering our current bylaws, how they're being employed, and whether we thought there were any changes that we might want to work on over the course of the next year. We were all well aware of the fact that the bylaws as currently written have a sort of circular process for the consideration of actual amendments. The proposed amendments need to be sent to the chair before they can be, considered and recommended by the committee. So we were not considering any for actual recommendation. Rather, we were just sort of sketching out a plan for what we'd be working on this year. And we came up with a number of a number of ideas. I won't say suggestions because there were no internal votes held, but the ideas we discussed included establishing a limitation on the number of non-board member participants in committees. That one was probably the most discussed. Some folks felt quite strongly that there were certain committees where non-board members wielded sort of an inordinate amount of power with respect to the votes they held. Others felt that no non-board committee members actually bring a lot of diverse experience and expertise to their board, or to their committee rather. If you look at the report, you'll see I actually included there a breakdown of committee by committee, what the involvement of board versus non-board members looks like. You'll see that almost all committees have fewer than 30% of their members being non-board folks, with the exception of the Economic Development Committee, which is like 56% to 44% board to non-board. But I digress. So that was the first idea. We also discussed the fact that in past years, the Bylaws Committee hasn't had much to discuss, and so whether we might want to exempt them from the 4 meeting requirement for 4 meetings in a given year. We discussed figuring out ways to make the bylaws more widely available. We thought the bylaws might discuss the more fundamental goals and objectives of the community board so that we had some reminder as to what we're working toward. We discussed whether the bylaws should include some sort of personnel practice code, helping to hold folks accountable to their job descriptions. There was discussion of whether the bylaws are doing enough to regulate conflicts of interest on the board, whether the bylaws should include a social compact, laying out how we are all agreeing to interact with one another in this board and on the committees. There was a proposal that we remove the reference to Robert's Rules of Order from the bylaws. A proposal that we limit and clarify the power of the different executive officers. There was a thought that some folks are not meeting their responsibilities. Some folks might not be aware of what the responsibilities are. Some folks may have so many responsibilities that the job is sort of impracticable. And so maybe there's a better distribution to be done there. There was a suggestion, well, a discussion of how the bylaws might help in improving the transfer of institutional memory so that we get new members up to speed on the past work of the board. Ways that we might better improve compliance with other governing laws like the open meetings law, potential term limits for executive officers, and then my own suggestion was to improve the formatting of the bylaws document itself, which is in all caps and thus not optimal from a legibility perspective. As I said at the beginning, we are not currently recommending any of these. What I intend to do is put these in a letter, submit it to the board for referral back to the committee so that we can dig a little bit deeper and discuss the merits of these proposals before coming back to this board with a recommendation. We did make one resolution though. Several folks noted that they did not have current copies of the bylaws. You know, folks were working from the 2018 version or things like that. And so there was a proposal, there was a motion that the board include a copy of the current bylaws on the CB1 website. That was seconded and the yays had it. So the bylaw committee does recommend to this board that a copy of the current bylaws be included on the CB1 website. And if anyone were so inclined to make a motion to this effect, that would be appreciated.
David Niederman, a motion to approve.
I second that. Iris Cabrera.
Rabbi Niederman and Iris Cabrera. Roll call vote, please.
Thank you. Gina Argento. Gina? Vadim Bakowski. Lisa Bamonte.
Abstain.
Gina Barrows.
Yes.
Eric Brusitis,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera.
Yes, Sonia.
Thank you. Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Cabone, Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chiancelli, Teresa Cincinnati, Stephanie Cuevas, Ronald Daly, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Evan Drinkwater, Arthur DiBernarski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fang, Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia,
Yes.
Joe Goldstein,
Yes.
Joe Gross,
Yes.
David Helmick,
Yes.
Sabrina Help, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moses Zinding, Robert Jeffrey,
Yes.
Rosina Kaminsky, Rosina, Corey Canton,
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn,
Yes.
William Clarksville,
Yes.
Yolando, Marie Liaison,
Yes.
Yolo, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
Yes.
Santi Michelli, Sante, Toby Markowitz, Toby, Rabbi David Needleman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves, Maria Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson,
Yes.
Bella Sable,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Beltine,
Yes.
William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Riera, Simon Weiser.
Sante Micheli, yes. Sorry about that.
Gina Argento, yes.
Thank you. $28 yes, Civil no, 1 abstention, Civil recusal. Motion carries.
Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Adam?
And that was the substance of our report. The final note that I'll make again is that if folks have other ideas for changes they'd like to see to the bylaws that were not reflected in the report, you know, there's a process for getting those considered by the bylaws committee. You can send an email to that effect to the board chair, and she will refer it out to our committee for consideration. So please feel free to do that. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you for your report,
Chair, may I
Adam.
ask a question?
Adam, for the record, I noticed that you put in your report that the item about the non-board members had been referred to me. The item about board members and non-board members has not been sent to me in writing. So let's make the record straight. I have not gotten an email on that item to refer it to the committee.
I understand, Madam Chair, and I'm sure you're correct. I was just reflecting
Well, I know I'm
assertion that
correct.
was made in the committee.
I know I'm correct. We went back and checked and I have nothing in writing. Plus, we didn't remember anything, so I have nothing. There's no reason for me to get an item for a committee and not refer it to the committee. If I don't refer
understand.
items to the committees can't do their job.
Thank you for that clarification, Madam Chair.
You're quite welcome.
Madam Chair, may I ask a
Environmental
question?
protections.
Wait, I have my hand up. It's Trina.
Yes. Sorry.
Yes, Trina.
I just wanted to make one comment about non-board members serving on committees. On both the Land Use Committee and the Environmental Committee, we have non-board members who are really great participants, really vital participants, and actually better attenders sometimes than other committee members, but who really offer a richness to the discussions. And I think it would be a real shame to lose them.
Thank you, Trina. there were definitely folks in the conversation that agreed with that position. To the extent you were inclined to put a comment together to that effect and forward it to me, then maybe that'll be a contribution to any further discussions that we have on that issue.
Sure, I'd be happy to, and I can fill in detail too.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Somebody need to send me an email that this item should be referred to the committee.
Okay.
Thank you. Steve Chesler, Environmental Protection.
May I ask a question? My hand
Madam
is-
Chair, Katie and I
Yes.
have a hand up.
Yes, Katie.
Well, I'll echo Trina's comments as a former non-voting board member, turned into board member. I think it's incredibly valuable also as a stepping stone for full membership. But I had my hand raised, Adam, to clarify kind of process. So if are you saying there is going to be a dialogue about those proposed changes at your next meeting, and which will then be bounced to the chair afterwards? So if we were or if we have feedback, should we be writing letters to the chair? I didn't quite understand how we could provide feedback at this point.
Thank you. Yeah, before we can substantively consider those ideas as sort of proposed amendments, they need to be first forwarded to the chair. And so I'm going to be communicating to the chair, asking that she circulate these back to the committee for consideration. So they will be considered and discussed in more depth at the next meeting. And so, yeah, to the extent that folks want to join that meeting after the date is noticed or submit comments for consideration at that meeting, I'll definitely try to notice that meeting as far in advance as I can so that folks have the heads up.
And I'd like to state that any information sent to me about any item for any committee will be forwarded to the entire committee.
I have a question too, Madam Chair.
Sorry, I raised my hand. I wanted to quickly speak about this issue. I wasn't present because I was out of town for the bylaws committee. My major concern with the issues with the non-members versus the board members is quite, for me, it just seems like a lot of our board members, our colleagues, are overextending themselves when it comes to committees, and therefore they're not being present. And because they don't show up and other people vote, there's an issue. I think it concerns those that are board members and they serve on the committees to be present. Because, I think that, again, we are all community residents and our fellow neighbors deserve to also serve on the committee and have their voice and their vote within our committee, because that will help us know where our neighbors are at with a certain, in the position of certain standing and whatever issues may arise. So I think for me, we have to look at ourselves as committee members and, do the right thing and show up.
Yeah, I have a question too, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Now, what will happen, for example, I mean, it's a great idea, I believe, to have a non-board member, probably on a good ratio, I would say. But what about if we have too many non-board members that they belong to a specific organization? So, they are there with a specific agenda, goal, and that could definitely probably put out of balance. Are we going to have a way that we can identify as a different voices from the community, like they are non-board member, or are we going to be able to verify? Because that probably is something they could put out of balance entirely a committee. It's we have a group of people, have a group agenda dedicated, maybe to disrupt certain balances. So that's something I would just launch it out as a possibility.
Well, we never know what anybody's agenda is when they get involved. But from my understanding and the conversations is that this person, they want to limit the number of non-board members to 2. They want to put a cap on how many non-board members can be on a committee. And I've tried not to overwhelm the committees because I can't put more non-board members on than I do board members. So everybody, people that want to be a non-board member, they don't always get what they want because it's a lot on a committee, and I can't keep throwing them on. Everybody want to get on the same committees. Some people don't get no committee because everybody put in for the same thing. So I try to do my best to balance it, but I would never overload a committee with non-board members. And people, committee chairs have come to me, and asked me to stop putting people on their committees or to take somebody off, So it's a balance. It's a balance. We want the community to be involved. I have no problem with non-board members because I think it's a learning process. Because if they're already on a committee, once they get on the board, it's very beneficial to them because they already know how the board works. But my understanding, we want to be limited to 2 non-board members. Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I just raised my hand that I was concerned on that point, which is committees that have no external people. I mean, we were looking at what you're saying is that you're trying to get a balancing number, but the more people that we can make sure that there are committees that have no external members at all, and it's because they're not outreaching probably. And the second point was that you've raised at the last meeting, we don't have active committee on education and an active, and right now we have, I think, looking at the fact that the police department, Board of Ed, and the Health and Hospital Corporation all have their own boards. We need to re-look at that, and that could be a bylaw thing about how do we bring that all together, because it's really, we have one community board, and it should have all the main areas of local government. We are the local government for our community, so I just want to add that's why Adam is saying we need to have more discussion, because I think people haven't thought through a number of these things in the last few years. So that's why we want to talk. But other people, they have other ideas about this. I keep worrying that the police are not there, and I don't want to run to police meetings too on top of the community board, and the hospital. I don't even know when they meet anymore. And the Board of Ed is certainly important to have one good education committee. So I just want to raise that those are concerns, and nobody has to do anything, but they're pretty.
Yeah, well, the reason you don't see non-board members on a committee, or you see very few, that means that nobody applied to get on those committees.
That's what I mean, but somebody has to do outreach about, and that's Sanzi. We were going to do more outreach to help the community figure out how to get involved. A lot of people still don't know, and it's not anybody's fault. We're just saying it's an area that we have to keep improving on. I think a lot of people.
I'm sorry, John, but it just seems to me that there's certain interests that pique people's interest. There's certain committees where people feel strongly about and others where they don't.
Well, that's true too.
It seems to be an issue. I'm sorry. There seems to be an issue with a lot of the committees where they claim that are flooded with a lot of non-board members. It seems to me it's an interest something that piques their interest. So no matter the outreach that we're making, it's what people find important to them. That's what they're going to go to. But again,
all that's true.
It's not about,
Right.
I don't think it's about how many non-members are in a committee. I think it's how many of our colleagues are not attending their committee.
Okay, guys, we're going to have to end this discussion. This will be taken up with the bylaws committee, and we're going to move on. Environmental protection, Steve Chesler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee met 2 days ago on the 7th, right before our full board meeting, but it was the only time we could get the parties to come in to talk about the Newhart Superfund site. But before we got to that, we first had 325 Kent LLC come in to discuss a revocable consent order that was submitted to the board review from City Department of Transportation. The Domino Two Trees, which owns Domino, has a wastewater treatment facility on site that it's essentially under where there's going to be a privately owned public plaza, essentially, next to the refinery building that's under construction, but essentially it takes in wastewater from toilets and laundry and sinks and showers, and treats it, and then sends some of it back into the system to be used like for toilets and for irrigation and for their cooling system for their internal HVAC system. And so we're, the committee members and community members are very praising of that they have this system that will process 410,000 gallons of water a day and take a huge burden off our municipal sewer system and reduce water usage on the site. So we really, hope this will catch on and other developers will do the same thing. But because they need to lay a ductile iron pipe to move this water from across Kent Avenue on South 4th Street from their 325 Kent Avenue building to this public owned plaza. It goes across Kent Avenue, obviously it's a public street. So they need, consent order to be able to do that. And the Kent Avenue will be partially open for the project, but they don't see it taking more than a few days, minimal disruption. And, they've been doing a lot of work down there on the full Domino project. So, I think they are, very mindful of that situation there. So and also if the system fails, the wastewater treatment system fails, the water will revert back to the municipal sewer system. So they have that covered. So essentially, we didn't have a quorum of 5 members, but we had a vote for a consensus recommendation to approve this consent order for laying wastewater pipe at 325 Kent Avenue. So I need a motion to approve this order.
Trina,
I make a motion.
David Niederman seconds the motion.
Trina and Rabbi Needleman, roll call vote, please.
Who made the motion?
Rabbi Needleman, Trina.
And Trina. Thank you. Okay, Gina Argento,
Yes.
Robin Bakarowski, Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barrows,
Yes.
Eric Brusitis, Iris Cabrera.
Yes.
Yes, Sonia.
Thank you. Phil Capernegro,
Yes.
Frank Cabone, Steve Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chinchetta, Teresa Cinciera, Stephanie Cuevas, Ron Daly, Giovanni Diamato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur DiBernowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fang, Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia,
Yes.
Joe Goldstein,
Yes.
Joe Gross,
Yes.
David Helmick,
Yes.
Sabrina Help, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
you, Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moses Ending, Robert Jeffrey,
Yes.
Bosina Kaminsky, Corey Canton,
Yes.
thank you. Paul Kilterborn,
Yes.
you, William Claswell,
Yes.
thank you. Yolando, liaison, Marie,
Is that Marie Lienza?
yeah, I'm sorry, Marie Lienza, yes,
Yes.
yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Yolo, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
thank you. Toby Markowitz, Toby, Rabbi David Needleman,
Yes.
Karen Nieves. Karen Nieves. Maria Domerick.
Yes.
Thank you. Janice Peterson.
Yes.
Bella Sable.
Yes.
Okay. Isaac Somer. Belty.
Yes.
William Vega.
Yes.
Maria Viera. Simon Weiser. Twenty-nine yeses, 0 no, 0 abstentions, 0 recusal. Motion carries.
Okay, thanks. Have a couple more items. This one is related to the Newhart development site. You know, it's in northern Greenpoint, bordering Franklin Street, Clay, and DuPont. It's a very, large parcel. And about 10 years ago, it was discovered that there were two large chemical plumes underground, as it was a plastic and vinyl factory from roughly 1994 to 2005. Since it closed, the ownership has changed hands a few times. It entered bankruptcy, and the most recent developer, overseen by Madison Realty Capital, we just found out, finally officially acquired the property, even though they've been doing work on it for a while. And the Department of Environmental Conservation is about to sign off on the consent order, so it'd make everything official. But it kind of reached a milestone in that the site is split up into two sections. The east side is a brownfield cleanup program, and the western site, where the two plumes are, is a Superfund site. Demolition has been ongoing. The eastern site surface structures were demolished, finished about a month ago, and as of a few days ago, on the Superfund side, where all the the heavy infrastructure was, it's 95% down. So essentially, they're just the slabs are left. So they're ready to commence with the physical, what we call the remedial action work plan, to physically start putting in place what's needed to remediate both sites. And but they're going to move on the eastern site first by but also in conjunction with the west site, in that they want to, during this whole process, they want to prevent any migration of the two plumes, which is basically phthalates on the patient's southwestern corner and trichloroethene, which is a volatile organic compound that's is carcinogenic. So they are going to install barriers around the entire eastern portion, including dividing it from the western portion with sheet piles, and then a soil mix wall along the eastern border with the properties next to it. And it's all low vibrational type of installation to prevent migration. And then on the Superfund site, they're going to install sheet piles also to prevent migration. And they're trying to get consent to go to the Greenpoint Landing property diagonally across the street on the corner of DuPont and Franklin, where the school was originally intended to go, to just absolutely make sure there's no migration onto that property, though they have not detected any as of yet, and they're constantly monitoring that. And then as far as remediation goes, they're going to remove a tremendous amount of soil from the eastern site to the tune of about 100 truckloads a day for 6 to 7 months. They're going to do some dewatering, and it'll be involving injecting a compound to basically mitigate residual contamination on the eastern site, and they're going to do that to a great extent along with extraction through wells and et cetera from the Superfund section. The Superfund section, they decide they have a record of decision in terms of which remedy they're going to do, but in terms of physically designing that process, that's almost done. They are the North Brooklyn neighbors got a technical assistant grant to hire consultants to help advise both DEC and the community on the whole process. And they've had some feedback on this alternative method of injecting a compound into the contaminated areas that cannot be, have the product fully extracted from them. So our plan is to invite North Brooklyn neighbors in to update on that. And so also in the process of this whole remediation, a ventilation tent will be constructed, and the operation will occur within that. It's a negative pressure system, so air is kept confined into the tent, and then there's carbon filters when there is some air released to protect the public and from potential toxic emissions. And they will be moving this tent as the work progresses from different parts of the site. There's great detail in the report that you can read, the presentation files from both the Department of Environmental Conservation and the developers is included. And there are reference numbers that you can go in the DEC database, to look at the detailed documents. In our discussion, there was just a worry, about public safety, regarding, what's happening here. Just we wondered, is there a way they can reduce the amount of trucks going in and out, and just the route that they're taking, making sure they're staying along necessary truck routes. In terms of if people notice, strange odors, we asked them, what do phthalates smell like? What does TC smell like? They said, if anything smells strange, contact the agencies. You can get, contact the board, and they can be in touch with DEC or the New York State Department of Health, which was on the, attended the meeting and was involved in the discussion. Inevitably, there will be almost 500 units of apartment units here. About 30% will be affordable. And this, horrible, challenging situation has been in the neighborhood for a long time. Will hopefully be behind us. But, people are very worried about getting through it. Laura Hoffman, who's been a longtime community member who lives right near the where the former factory was, experienced physical challenges, autoimmune issues with herself and family members in the area. So she's really worried about what's going on there. Very worried about Greenpoint Playground, which is across the street, which experiences severe ponding during cloudburst events. Really wondering, just if that water's being affected by the contamination. Though DEC in the past has said that, the storm sewers and drinking water that's going through conduit that is completely separate from groundwater. So there really shouldn't be any interaction there. They said there isn't any interaction. But just really worried about those things. They'll be removing their underground storage tanks that have to be removed. Petroleum is a major contaminant there that they'll also be removing. And that's essentially, we didn't take a vote on it. We just, I wanted to convey what happened in the meeting. We urged them to come in because they had a meeting about a month ago at the DuPont Senior Center, the same night as our last full board meeting. So the community board wasn't able to interact with the parties involved here. So we were grateful that they were able to come in. Just wondering if anyone had any questions about Newhart. They're going to start installing the barrier walls at the beginning of the year. They're going to do the initial work over the next couple months and then really get into it. And the whole remediation process will probably take between 12 and 16 months to complete. So in 2 years, be through that phase, but then have to deal with the construction phase. So, very large building with almost 500 apartments. But does anybody have comments or questions about the project?
I appreciate your report. Very clear and helpful.
But glad to hear that, Jan. I'm glad to, it's very important that we be there for the community on this. And then moving on, we, previous meeting, we talked about, just flooding during rain events in the neighborhood, especially in north would be the, eastern Greenpoint over Nassau, Norman over there, and Broadway, near Broadway Stages facilities. The problem with clogged catch basins and lack of catch basins. So there's a movement, Erica and Evelyn Matichek, who are longtime residents, are working with DEP to try and get some action over there. But I feel like the board could be helpful here, especially on areas where there aren't catch basins. So we're going to look to get DEP into a future meeting to discuss these issues, which are also related to climate. A few meetings ago, National Grid came in to talk about their fossil fuel initiative, which includes reusing natural gas that is repurposed in the Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant through removal solid waste from wastewater. The byproduct is natural gas, and the idea was National Grid was supposed to tap in and bring that gas into their system for customers. And they've been putting off, and we sent them a letter. They responded last month that it's online. So we're very happy to hear that. But people wondering, oh, well, how's it going? What's the data? Like how much, what kind of volume are they putting into the system? So we made a consensus vote to request the board send a letter to National Grid asking for the information. But I thought I would combine it with another action that we need after that. I'm a member of the Newtown Creek Community Advisory Group, which is dealing with some major issues with Newtown Creek. One of them being that it's a federal Superfund site. And the Environmental Protection Agency has just been going through this long, drawn-out process of doing an investigation, and they've been working on a feasibility study, just understanding the risk involved with the contaminants and what potential getting towards a proposal for cleaning it up. It was just recently announced that there's going to be an extensive delay in that process to the tune of like over 10 years. And so, the CAG is really pushing back on that, and they're going to come back with answers to questions and suggestions from them. But I thought, I don't know when or if the board has ever had a direct report on the status of the Superfund site. So we want to invite the EPA to come into the full board to update them on everything if possible. So we took a vote on that. A consensus vote that was unanimous to approve that. So I would, if it's okay with the chair, I'd like to call for a motion to request National Grid provide data to the board with details on their biogas program from the Newtown Creek wastewater treatment plant, and to invite the Environmental Protection Agency to come in to update the board at a full board meeting. I guess I ask you, Madam Chair, you think it's necessary for us to take a vote on that, or if our committee just recommends that the executive committee and you consider inviting them and including them on a future board meeting agenda for a hearing?
Yeah, well, what you can do, action, send an agenda, send us an email that they want to be on our agenda when they can come. Maybe
Okay, so we should just go through the normal channels when we try and bring. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll include that in the motion. So, but I do need a vote on requesting National Grid provide us with data on the biogas program.
Tony Iglesias, I make a motion.
I second.
Okay, Sonia and Jan. Roll call vote, please.
Gina Argento. Gina Argento.
Yes, yes, this is Gina Argento, yes.
Thank you. Barney Bakarowski. Lisa Bamonte.
Yes.
Gina Barrows.
Yes.
Eric Brusitis.
Yes. Yes.
Iris Cabrera.
Yes.
Phil Caponegro.
Yes.
Frank Cabone. Frank Cabone. Stephen Chesler.
Yes.
Michael Chiancelli. Teresa Sensato. Stephanie Cuevas. Ronan Daly. Giovanni D'Amato.
Yes.
Jim Quarters. Arthur Dibanowski.
Yes.
Lloyd Fink. Julia Amanda Foster. Crystal Garcia.
Yes.
Joe Goldstein.
Yes.
Joe Gross.
Yes.
David Helmick.
Yes.
Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz.
Yes.
Tony Iglesias, yes. Moshe Zinding. Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
Monsina Kaminsky. Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn.
Yes.
William Clasbo. William Clasbo. Yolando. Marie. Lieza. Marie.
Marie Ho.
Marie, you.
Oh,
Lienza, I'm
yes.
sorry.
Yes, Leanza.
Lienza, thank you. Sorry, I'm trying. Yolo. McKeever.
Yes.
Adam Myers.
Yes.
Sante Michelli. Sante. Toby Moskowitz.
Sante, yes.
Okay, Toby. Rabbi David Needleman.
Yes.
Karen Nieves. Mary Domerick.
Yes.
Janice Peterson.
Yes.
Bella Sables.
Yes.
Thank you. Isaac Sofa. Del T.
Yes.
William Vega.
Yes.
Maria Viera. Simon Weiser. $29 yes, civil no, civil abstention, and civil recusal. Motion carries.
Great. Thank you. Just one, just announcement that we'll be scheduling our next meeting November 29th. We're inviting the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to come in. They have a proposal to build this massive coastal resiliency infrastructure throughout New York Harbor area, including the mouth of Newtown Creek, where they are proposing building these storm surge gates, levees, flood walls, natural defenses, which potentially, will affect the shorelines around Newtown Creek and the East River, affecting building residences, businesses, and the parks like Newtown Barge Park and Transmitter Park, because it potentially create kind of collateral flooding in the name of helping with calming storm surges, et cetera. It might create some kind of what they call induced flooding. So we're going to bring them in to get the details and to talk about it. So stay tuned for a notice on that. And that's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Steve. Can we take a vote on the calendar? Can I get a motion to vote on the calendar with the necessary corrections?
Motion to vote for the vote on the calendar.
Second, Joel Gross.
Rabbi Needleman, Joe Gross, vote on the 2023-24 calendar with the necessary corrections that was discussed previously. Roll call vote, please.
Gina Argento. Gina Argento. Martin Bakarowski. Lisa Belmonte.
Yes.
Gina Barrow.
Yes.
Eric Rositis.
Yes.
Iris Cabrera. Iris.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Bill Caponegro.
Yes.
Frank Cabone. Stephen Chesler.
Yes.
Michael Chiancelli. Teresa Cenciero. Stephanie Cuevas. Juan Daly. Giovanni Diamato.
Yes.
You. Eric Drinkwater. Arthur D. Winaski.
Yes.
Lloyd Payne. Julian Mando Foster. Cristo Garcia.
Yes.
You. Joe Goldstein.
Yes.
Joe Gross.
Yes.
David Helmick.
Yes.
Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz.
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moses Ending. Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
You. Bonzina Kaminsky. Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kulterborn.
Yes.
William Clagsbow. Yolando. Marie Liaison. Marie. Yes, thank you. Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Thank you. Adam Myers.
Yes.
Sante Marcelli. Sante. Toby Moskowitz. Rabbi Needleman.
Yes.
Thank you. Karen Nieves. Mario Domerick.
Yes.
Janice Peterson.
Yes.
Bella Sable. Isaac Sofer. Del T.
Yes.
William Vega.
Yes.
Maria Viera. Simon Weiser. $25 yes, 0 no's, 0 abstentions, 0 recusal. Madam Chair, motion carries.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, everyone. Next
Thank you.
item on the agenda is Parks Department minute as written. Next item is elected officials announcements. Abraham Lugo, Council Member Gutierrez, Jennifer Gutierrez's office.
Yes, present. Thank you so much for having me, CB1. I've actually attended the last few meetings, but I've never spoken on behalf of the council members, so it's nice to see all of you face to face. So just the updates that we wanted to give really quickly. Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez enjoyed Halloween with the community. We gave out candies to children. So thank you to everybody who stopped by the Moore Street Market to receive candy and all of the volunteers. Also, thank you to everybody who donated clothes for our winter clothing drive for the new arriving migrants. The event was a success and we helped many families. So that was really, really nice to be able to do. But an update from that is that we got a lot of donations, which is great. But it meant that we had many leftovers. So we will be hosting another distribution event soon. The details are to be determined, but I will relay as soon as plans are solidified. We also have the trash force that our office began for community-wide cleanups. That is active, so we encourage everybody to please submit 311 complaints and then contact our office with those 311 complaint numbers so we are aware of them. Thank you as well to everybody who submitted ideas for participatory budgeting. The last day to submit was on the 31st of October, but if you check the website, I just checked it just now. If you still have an idea and want to go online, you can go ahead on that website and still submit online. But for our district, we got a total of 98 ideas. So thank you to everybody who submitted. We also are hosting a community cleanup soon. We're going to be meeting at the Ridgewood Farmers Market at Myrtle Avenue, and then clean the street nearby. So please bring your food scraps as well. The cleanup will be at 1 p.m. If you need details, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. And also, we will be hosting our first of several town halls across every neighborhood in our district. First one is going to be December 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. And it's going to take place at St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church. And the focus of this first town hall is going to be a South Side safety and sanitation concerns. So if you have concerns, want to connect directly with the council member and our team, please feel free to reach out. Once we have a flyer with everybody that will be attending solidified, we will roll that out and share it widely. But that is all from our office as always. If you have any questions or concerns, you can contact me, and feel free to just contact our general office number, which is 718-963-3141. Thank you, I yield.
Thank you, Abraham. Next is Stacy Johnson from Senator Kavanaugh's office. Stacy Johnson. Next is Daniel Bruno from Borough President Reynoso's office. Daniel Bruno. Next is Andrew Epstein from Assemblywoman Emily Gallagher's office. Okay, hearing none, that completes that. Okay.
Madam Chair, there, Stacy Johnson.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I was having trouble being able to unmute and make my video show up. But yeah, I'm here from Senator Kavanaugh's office. We have a couple more months representing Brooklyn, and then soon afterwards, we will not be representing Brooklyn. So I invite everyone to get in touch with me, especially if there are any projects that have been recently covered by our office or even in the past, because we don't want anything to fall through the cracks. So I will put my info in the chat in just a second. Just letting you know some events that are coming up that I'm participating in, including events that you guys are hosting. So tomorrow, the DOT is hosting tomorrow an event for the BQE North, the workshop at 6:30 at MS 126 at 424 Leonard Street. So we will be engaging in that, as well as a lot of you, I'm sure. And next Tuesday, I will be paying attention to your transportation committee meeting, because it will be discussing the Berry Street open street design. Just letting you know that we are paying attention to that issue as we get a lot of emails about that particular open street design. And also next Wednesday, we're hosting a flu shot event in Manhattan, but it's at Meltzer Tower. If you know anyone in Lower Manhattan that wants to get a flu shot or a COVID booster, let us know. We're also happy to help you guys sponsor your own flu shot events if that's something you're interested in doing. And then just letting you know that we're paying close attention to different issues with basements flooding from stormwater overflow during flash flood events. So if that happens in your area or in your house, unfortunately, I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, let us know. We're just trying to keep tabs on when and how often that's happening across the city. Because as you probably know, Senator Kavanaugh is really eager to get basement apartments legalized. And one part of that is to make sure that they're safe, and flooding is obviously not safe. So we're paying close attention to that. And Shahana Hanif's office in South Brooklyn is having a town hall on the issue next Thursday at 6 p.m. And then just letting you know that Senator Kavanaugh is not here tonight. He is in Puerto Rico for the Somos conference. That is, centering the Latino community and issues about Puerto Rico. So just those updates, and I'll put my stuff in the chat, my information. Thank you.
Stacy, our chat is not on, so would you email me? Would you email the information to our office and any flyers about your events?
Yes, I will send it all to you. And you can also just, if anybody goes to the website, to the Brian Kavanaugh, State Senate website, if you just email the general inbox, I check that. So I got you. Okay.
Thank you, Stacy.
Sure.
Is Daniel Bruno here? Andrew Epstein? Guess not. Okay. Next item is old business.
I believe Bruno Daniel is here. It looks like he's unmuted himself. I'm not sure if he's going to speak.
Bruno?
He's unmuted. I just.
Apparently his audio's not working.
That way. Okay. Is Andrew Epstein on? Okay, moving on. Is there any old business?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I don't know if it's really old or new, but I was just the Reddington District Manager position. The job description that came through looked great. I just want to say it's really great to see that document. Is it, I just question, has it been released and posted, or is it a working document, or?
No, we sent it to the full board in case they want to add anything or get their approval.
Okay.
If anybody got anything they want to add or whatever, we sent it to the board so they can look at it so we can move on. So we haven't
Okay.
gotten anything yet as of now. So we
Okay, so
sent it
just submit,
Hmm?
just submit directly to the board.
Well, it hasn't been posted yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
Is
we
that-
sent we sent it to the board, but it hasn't been posted. So
Okay.
Simon is away, and we have to have another meeting because we have to figure out where we're gonna post it and how we're gonna post it.
okay.
And
'Cause I had one suggestion, if this is the place, but just having expert knowledge of parliamentary procedure, be in the recommended area and not the, because, we need, Jerry was our parliamentarian. I think we would need potentially the new person to fill that role or have someone else fill it, but,
let's send your comments to the committee.
okay,
Anybody got any comments, send it to the committee. And
Okay.
What are the, how does this work? So right now it's been distributed to the whole board. And what are the next steps?
the next step is to get it back and go over it. And if there's any additions or anything need to be changed, then we'll look at it. And then we gotta send it to DCAS to make sure that we're in their hiring guidelines, to make sure that we're not saying or asking anything that they disagree with. And then we'll post it.
Madam
Yes.
Chair. Madam
Yes.
Chair, Sonia.
Yeah.
After we review, we look it over, and people just put their comments or whatever addition. Does it have to be voted on, or is it just goes through once the
Well, once if the committee decides that they want to make the changes, then they make the changes.
Okay, so there's not going to be an item to
We just-
vote.
We're giving the board, we're giving board members an opportunity to look at it and
Okay.
see if, if they want to add anything or delete anything. We're being open and transparent.
No, I know,
One thing-
but I'm just saying, as far as adopting it, is there any policy or procedures that require us to say yes, we go with it, or I'm just saying for procedural purposes.
Well, I'm gonna send it to DCAS and have DCAS to look at it and make sure that we're in the right range of their hiring policy.
And then once you have candidates, what, just in terms of the timeline in general, what?
Well, the thing is, we're gonna get the comments back from the board. The committee will look at the comments. They either add them or, if the committee accept the comments, when they vote to add them in, then we send it to DCAS and see if we got everything in order. and that we're within their hiring guidelines, and then we will post it. Once we post it, then people can start applying. And once the applications come in, the executive board will look at, do the interviews. They have to set up interviews.
Thank
It's a
you.
long process and a tedious one.
How will the selection process work in terms of like narrowing down candidates and then inevitably making a decision? How will that, like how will will the committee engage in the physical interviews, initial ones, and then will they have like final candidates, like a few final candidates that potentially would go to a next level? And then how would the decision inevitably be made?
But in my experience, we would interview the candidates and come back with our recommendations and get the board to vote on it. And then we would hire whoever the board votes for.
And it's not the committee, it's the executive board that does this, right?
The executive board does the interviews. Any more questions on that?
Yeah, is there any update on the personnel budget for, this fiscal year and beyond?
What do you mean?
Well, there's an issue of not having funds available to fill a position for the rest of the year, and there was a proposal to advance funds from a future budget into the current year.
Well, like I said, OMB went above and beyond because they knew that this was an unprecedented situation. So they got us money from the 23-24 budget so we could hire somebody.
That's great news.
Yeah, it took some doing, but they finally got it together after I told them what dire need we were in. So they've done everything they could to try to, expedite this.
And in terms of a timeline, once it's posted, how long do you anticipate before you start interviewing? Or how long do you keep the application open?
Well, I would imagine once we get applications in, we'll start the interviewing process. And then if they interview and they decide that we have the candidates we want, you can't possibly, you can't, and I don't know if the committee gonna cut off a certain amount or whatever, but I'm sure, the applications come in, they'll look at them and they'll do interviews.
Great, thank you.
Of course, the committee has to come up with a plan for that, how they have to handle it, or how they want to handle it. Any more questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a question. In the past, as I wasn't part of the board, did the district manager, I know some of you, they knew him for, 30 years and more than that. Did the district manager from our board attended and represented the board in public hearing from city planning or landmarks and including the New York State Legal Authority? Because of what I heard from in other community board, the district manager also has this responsibility, including attending, controversial liquor license, attending the 504th hearing, with tremendous positive impact the moment the district manager represent the community publicly there. Just curiosity, if this could be included. I will put it as one of my input, but I was curious if our district manager ever did it in the past decades he was serving.
All the boards basically work differently, and there's no set guidelines. Every board seems to operate differently, but I'm sure, our district manager was where he was supposed to be. And I'm sure, when the notices went out about hearings, generally the chair or somebody from that committee tried to go. If they had to be there, they went. But you can't expect a district manager to be everywhere and run the board too. They operations. Any more questions? Okay, hearing nothing, is there any new business? Hearing none, I'd like to wish everybody a healthy, happy Thanksgiving and enjoy yourself and spend quality time with your family. Be safe, be healthy. And can I have a motion to adjourn? Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Will you make a motion to adjourn?
Second by David Niederman.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Good night.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good night.